Good morning, guys. I am Joke, and today I'm gonna cast a game between HeliosAflame and Kingdanzz. And with me, I have Lou. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm fine. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. So this is a recording from the monthly cup, in the bracket still in the finals. This is not the grand finals, but on the way to the finals. So we have HeliosAflame from Draco Deuce and Kingdanzz from Team Equilibrium.
Right, he's my teammate.
Yeah, so you have to make sure I call plays correctly. So this is going to be a best of 3, and we have not seen the video before. This is a recording. So yeah, let's get started.
Okay, so all of my teammates choose to open with Wish, I think, except Modnik. He went with yellow control. And the reason for that was we thought we have a very easy time with beating other yellow control decks with this wish list. However, we didn't expect the newer version with all the mobility stuff, which can be played a bit more aggressive, and we already see Helios moving up to one side. And yeah, usually the old yellow controllers try to sit back and farm both sides, but this version tries to go from one side and directly attack.
Yeah, and it is a little bit more mobile than the older version that we've seen before because of the Oradrim Fanatic.
Exactly, and of course Desert Twister is a very good enabler for strong Shaden vampires or other aggressive plays.
Yeah, so just by looking at their starting hands, Kingdanzz seems to have a really powerful start with the
I agree.
with the Lore Thief and the Aurora, and also Deathwalker. Unfortunately, or is it unfortunately? Do you really want to have your wishes so early? You already drew 2.
I guess you really want to have them by the time you get to 8 all the colored lands you need.
Yeah.
Like 2 of each. But yeah, it's a bit slow start because you invest 3 Farrier into 1/1s to draw.
Oh,
Wow.
and he draws the third one even. Wow.
Yeah.
That's not something he wants, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to even play them. He might have too many cards in his hand by the time he is able to.
It's a bit questionable if it was right to play the second Lore Thief. Having more options and more draw is nice, but it sets him down by 3 Farrier. And it's very hard to early on defend with Wish. That's why we put in stuff like Deathwalkers that can be played pretty defensively. And yeah, that's the biggest problem for Wish decks to get over the early game.
Yeah, and here we see Helios using that incredible mobility to take out that second Lore Thief, so now it's not going to be able to sacrifice by the Deathwalker or collect Fairy on the left-hand side.
It's also a big thing. He loses 1 Farrier while Helios gains 1 more Farrier. So very nice play by Helios.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to be afraid of AoE right now, so he knows he needs 2 mountains and 10 Farrier for Garodan. So yeah, he just floods the board with small stuff.
Yeah, when I look at the board here, I would be very happy if I was Helios, because he not only is he harvesting from 3 wells while his opponent is only on 1, but he does have that combination of Desert Twisting and Shaitan Vampire ready to use.
That will definitely be impactful soon. What I see here is that Helios can fly up, make a desert, and spawn a creature for a good vampire, and then he can even trade the 2/4. So I think that's what we will see here.
And what do you think about... Why do you think Kingdanzz is holding on to these Deathwalkers and not playing them already? Is it possible that he's running maybe Aurora's Creation and he doesn't want to sacrifice his Mythmaker because of that?
No, it's not using Aurora's Creation. I don't really know. Maybe he didn't want to waste the Deathwalker against the 4/1 flying creature. So that could be a reason why. But yeah, I think he was at this point quite behind, so he had to take the risky play and hope that the 3-1 trades with the elemental.
Yeah. So, have you played a lot with these Wish decks? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, that's one of the main. That was also my main deck. So I played it most before the tournament, but I played like 10 different decks that I considered taking for the tournament.
Oh wow.
And yeah, I wasn't sure until I saw the bracket. And yeah, then I thought, like, I knew some players would open with yellow control. So we had the theory that Wish is pretty good in the meta because it should be favored against yellow control, but this version can be played so aggressive that that's not really the case. At best, it's a 50-50 matchup.
Alright, so well, now we're gonna see Helios clear the entire board and still maintain control of 3 of the Feria wells, but Kingdanzz is only 3 turns away from triggering his wishes, or even less if he's running Earthcraft.
And the good thing is, if you have wishes against a deck with lots of remover, that can come in very handy for a comeback. Like drawing big creatures, or I don't know, just some harvesters from other decks isn't that powerful, but if you get like Last Nightmares or Wind Soldiers, stuff like that, maybe even Soul Drains or Vampires reduced, that's very good for starting a comeback.
Yeah, it feels like every time when I'm playing on the ladder, my opponent always gets Last Nightmares and all the good stuff. Windstorm Charger, that's also one of the really powerful cards used in the yellow control decks nowadays. You have so many ways of triggering it, and the mobility of it is amazing with the Charge 2, and if you combine that with the Origin Fanatics, it's just incredible mobility.
Yeah, and a very important thing about that card is the 4 health, so it survives AoE, and like all the red AoE, Firestorm and Garrodon.
Yep. And there is the Earthcraft, so now Kingdanzz does have the option to play the 3 wishes, and if he likes what he sees, he can play it 3 times even.
Yeah, I definitely see him going first with the Earthcraft. Garrodon, that's interesting.
Garrodon is a very powerful draw here. Unfortunately, you won't be able to use it just yet.
And yeah.
Are you happy about finding these cards? I mean, the Windborn Champion is incredibly powerful, but it's so slow.
That's true. I'm not sure if I would wish again here, but having a Vampire is good against this deck. He can collect and Vampire, but that doesn't clear. So he can't. Can he? No, he can't. Unless his creature survives, he can't Garrodon next turn. But he made a nice mountain spot in the middle. I like that, because if you summon Garrodon over there, you can basically fly to every corner, collect everywhere, and trade everywhere.
Or go face if you're playing like me. Right, so I do not expect Kingdanzz is gonna play another Wisher, and he chooses not to. And now we know what Helios is gonna draw next, but of course he doesn't.
Yeah, and if I was Kingdanzz, I would probably try and wait 2 turns until I wish again, so I skip the Windborn Champion.
Yeah. Unless
he values the Shaden Vampire that high. But also he should start working on deserts from this turn on, I think.
Yeah, because the Windborn Champion, even though it's really slow to get out because it requires 5 deserts, it's just incredibly powerful with the charge 5 and the ability to move a creature when you summon it.
Yeah, and the Vampire with the Windborn Champion also has some nice synergy to get better positioning for the Vampire.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not bad if he wants to hold on that long.
Looks like Helios is considering doing this trade here.
Yeah, and he can even he chooses for the Vampire to have more pressure. Guess that makes sense. There was an option of going Outland Ranger and buffing the Ranger himself or the 3-1. But you want to pressure Wish, because if you give them time, they should win late game. Unless, of course, like in this spot, they can't harvest anywhere.
Yeah.
Then it's hard even to recover, even with wishes. And that's the main problem for Kingdanzz. He has no harvesting creature in this on free Farrier.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the cards being reduced with their Farrier cost from the 3 wishes, I think this game would already be over. But because of that reduction, there's maybe a chance. It certainly looks like Helios in a very good spot here.
Yeah, but Helios is on 1 Farrier now as well, but he's harvesting, triple harvesting.
Yeah. And there is the Windborn champion.
So he can push for face damage, yeah. I wonder where I place him. He could set him up in the center spot that can hit face. But he can also play him 1 to the right and go face.
And he draws another Desert Twister. That is kind of unfortunate for him, because it would be good for him if Kingdanzz drew that with his wishes.
Yeah, that's true.
But on the other hand, Desert Twister is kind of fun to have yourself, so... But I'm thinking he was probably looking for something else.
I'm pretty sure we'll see Windborn coming out.
Yeah, at this point I don't think there is any reason to keep it in your hand.
And he can still collect if he wants to. I mean, double collect with the Windborn from the right bottom well to the top left.
Yep.
So that's probably why he chose this spot. It gives him 2 Farrier. He's on 2.
So what did I find out? It seems like there's a last Nightmare and the Windstorm Charger, and then we don't see because he's hovering over it. Or no, it's Atmas. I think it was Atmas who recorded this video. It's your fault, mate. Okay, there was... Oh, there's another Windborn champion. So Helios is gonna find Last Nightmare, Windborn champion, and Windstorm Charger next.
Yeah, so Dance can stall a bit here, because he can draw next turn. I mean, he can heal next turn, and he has wind. He can't clear the board anymore because of the 5/5. So Garrodon is probably too late, but I don't see him recovering otherwise. So he chooses Last Nightmare here, most likely. And the 5/5 because it allows him to double collect. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess you wait 1 more turn with Wish.
Oh, he wants to play it now. I guess he really wants that Last Nightmare.
Was it sure for him to get the Last Nightmare?
Yeah, it was the first card he got from the wishes. That means it's the first card Helios is gonna draw.
Oh, he wished twice the turn, right? Okay, then.
Okay, so let's see. I feel like Kingdanzz is definitely in a very good spot. He has a second Windborn champion ready to come out. Unfortunately, it might just get Last Nightmare right away.
Yeah. The thing is, Helios can kill the 2/4 that harvests with if he uses the Windborn champion, and you see the recovery of the healing. Kingdanzz is again on full health.
Yeah, but now he doesn't have any heal left in his deck. Most likely, at least. I mean, we don't know for sure, but no one really runs any healings besides for the wishes.
That's everything, the 3 wishes. Looks like the Ur decides to go in attack mode. I like it. Does he really attack with both? Okay.
It sets up a 2-turn lethal.
Yeah. See, he has the other Desert Twister here for the 5/5 to play him in the middle and hit face next turn.
Do you think he's gonna campfire?
The 3/1, yeah, I guess why not?
Otherwise it won't kill the Charger.
Exactly, yes.
It seems like he's considering it, and he ends up doing it. Okay, so Kingdanzz is gonna be on 4 Farrier. maybe 5 if it chooses to gain 1. He cannot do a whole lot with that. He can clear the board and drop another creature, the charger, but that's it.
Yep. And he can't play it in a safe spot where it's safe against the 5/5 from Helios.
Yeah, Helios could harvest all 4 wells and kill the charger. If he chooses to use the Desert Wizard, at least.
Yeah.
So for those of you who didn't follow the monthly cup, this is we're using the Pantheon format, which means whenever one of the players here win, they need to use the same deck for the next game, and the loser has to change deck. The loser may not use the same deck that he just now lost with, and it's a best of 3. So let's say Helios takes this game. What do you think Kingdanz's best chance is as terms of counter picking a deck that's good against yellow control?
He brought Red Rush and a green deck that I made. It's a very defensive green deck, and it was the reason why I dropped out of the tournament, because I thought I could outvalue yellow. But yellow is just the mobility punished me too hard. My opponent drew 3 Windborn Champions when he had the 5 deserts.
Wow.
So I couldn't compete with them, even though I had a very good start myself. Because I think green has more threats than yellow can take out, especially this list only runs 2 Last Nightmares. But it's just so slow, that's the biggest problem.
Yeah. So we see Kingdanzz drawing a card, hoping to find something. But at this point, it looks like it's over, and Helios is taking game number 1.
And yeah, because you asked me which list, I think Red Rush has a better time, but I think both matchups are unfavored against this yellow deck.
Alright.
And I made the mistake myself not picking flying, because I had green, the defensive green deck, and a yellow flying list, and I think I had a better chance with the flying deck if I took that instead.
I was running my Imperial Engineer Meteor deck, but Kingdanzz just killed me right in the start.
But I think you took 1 game off him, right?
No, not this time.
Okay.
I lost 2-0.
Okay. Well, was a pretty hard first game. Or hard.
Yeah, both games were really hard. Oh yeah, you mean my first opponent was really hard. Yeah. But I feel like there were so many good players in this month's tournament. Yeah, I would probably have a hard time wherever I came. So many people running yellow control. After this tournament, I of course copied their list and went onto the ladder, and went from rank 3 to, and I'm now rank 1.
Oh, nice.
And only playing yellow control. Sapphire is now hosting me. Thank you, Sapphire.
Oh, that's cool.
So it looks like...
I'm really curious if this goes to a 3rd game, because Kingdanzz, I think the Red Rush, maybe against this yellow list, has the almost a 50-50, but because it's not so defensive, but I don't know. I haven't seen this matchup myself that often.
Well, when I'm playing this yellow control, I at least feel like I have a pretty good chance against winning against Red Rush, but Yellow Rush I struggle really much against.
Okay.
But that might also just be because I've been playing so much Red Rush, so I kind of know how to play around it. Or I'm just lucky. Oh, it looks like Atmos is kicked from the lobby. Now we can see how much money he has. Only 5,300. So yeah, if you're watching this, this is not live. This is a recording from last tournament.
I was a bit lucky with my bracket, I think.
Were you on the lower side or on the top
Yeah, I
side?
was on the lower side, and I would
feel
have.
like every opponent that I had in the upper bracket was really, really
Yeah, that's.
tough.
But I also played against very good opponents.
Yeah.
But out of the like top 10 players right now, I would say most of them were in the upper side.
So it
Like,
looks like
you know,
Kingdanzz did bring the red rush that you were
Yeah.
also expecting. And looking at
It's a
Helios
very good
hand,
start. Ooh.
do you mean for Helios that it's
No,
a
for
very good-
Dance, the Firebringer sucks a bit.
Yeah, Steamforge Enforcer is really good. Outcast Tower is
But for
really good.
Helios, the hand is, wow, also sick. He can already deal with the Steamforge.
Yeah, I think as if I'm Helios here, I would have been really happy if I found ghouls or maybe even one vampire.
He could actually use the Oradrim Fanatic and jump over on the opponent's side to just like have a threat to raise him and play the Windstorm Charger behind.
Yeah. Do you really want to rush a race against Yellow Rush? Red Rush?
Red Rush has a hard time defending and attacking at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, like if Kingdanzz played the Steamforge here, Helios could have traded with the 2/4 and still have the Outland Ranger in play and the other guy, but he would have had to play the Outland Ranger defensive.
Yeah, I really hope for Helios now that he's gonna find a air elemental. I believe he's running 2. I'm not sure. And if he can find that, he's just gonna be able to block his opponent's aggressive land so great that it's gonna be very difficult for Kingdanzz to get into a good position from there.
Dance doesn't really want to play the Steamforge into the 2/4 because it sucks losing a 6-cost creature against a 3-cost.
Yeah.
But it's threatening his Steamforge already, and we know from Helios' hand that he can take it out. And another thing is, usually you love to have Outcast Towers against control decks, but this deck, like I mentioned in the beginning, doesn't really rely that much on sitting back and harvesting your own wells. And that's exactly the case here.
What do you think about this positioning here and his decision here to not use Explore?
I think it's okay because he doesn't benefit that much from getting the land closer. He could drop his Steamforge closer, but he expects the 2/4 to battle against the 6/5. So if he doesn't block here, Helios could step 1 field up and make a land.
What do you think about maybe using Last Nightmare here to keep your Charger alive?
That's probably what he's considering. And it looks like he's just going to collect and wait. No, he's pushing it back and trading. You never know what's going on with all the mobility things.
Yeah, that was a beautiful play.
Yeah, he didn't have to kill it now because unless he has a Silent Horse Master, he can't hit face or do anything with it.
Yeah,
but of course, he sets up for double collecting.
Yeah, but this way he's also denying the very sweet spot of land. If I were Kingdanzz here, I would play double neutral and explore. But maybe I'm too greedy, I don't know.
At least now the Outcast Tower is very nice.
Yeah, because now Helios can just make 2 prairies to the left and maybe step onto the mountain. I don't know. You really want to protect the spot on the next to the ferry.
Next to the well, yeah. But against Red Rush, it's not that important compared to Yellow Rush, because Yellow Rush, they can always make use of the well and collect with it, and Red Rush needs the creatures to survive first.
Yeah, I feel like it's really good also against the red because of the axe grinders and.
That's true. Yeah.
And almost all the cards, there's only Steamforge Enforcer that costs 6. Otherwise, all cards cost maximum of 5. King's Faithful being the only card with 5. So
Yeah.
if you have one Faria well, you can always just use +1 and then you will be able to play every single card except for a Seamfush Enforcer.
So that without the Outcast Tower, I think this game was already over for Kingdanzz.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can just wait and play lots of threats at once if you have the tower. Maybe use a Cypher's Wrath that you draw and remove some stuff, but yeah, so far his hand isn't that explosive. So he will need some Hate Seed and maybe some cheaper creatures.
He chose to take the mountain up there. I guess I still have a lot to learn because I definitely would have taken the spot next to the orb. Why do you think he took that mountain over there?
I think it's always nice to have two sides where you can attack from and play your creatures. And other than that, I don't really know. Having two lands next to each other gives you less options. For like when you kill the creature on the right side, the creature on the left side has a very long way until it can trade. Basically that. Okay, the Cypher's Wrath is a nice draw, but now he's collecting. The good thing is that the 3/1 has the Farrier stored in it, so Helios doesn't have it available now until he trades.
Yep.
But other than that, Deathwish Ghoul is a very strong card, probably one of the best in the game right now.
I'm really liking Helios' position here.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's getting closer and closer to the 5 desert threshold.
Dance really needs hate seeds, and a lot of them.
Yeah. The thing about Red Rush is that it's incredibly important that your creatures stay alive so that you can play these Shed-in pests and have them buffed. But we can see here that Helios is just not gonna let anything survive for the second turn. And there's the first hate scene.
Yeah, but it's only 3 cost, and ideally you want to play them for 0.
Yeah.
So, Kingdanzz really needs Outcast Towers, he needs more cheap, high attack minions that reduce his hate seed. And so far, he can't have all at once.
Yeah, we saw Helios choose to draw here. Do you think it's because he didn't have any creatures and he just wants to make sure that he's always dropping something?
I guess he's at... Unless you have a Windborn champion.
There's no point really in dropping the 5th.
Exactly, yeah. You don't need to make the land
until you need it.
Until you play the creature. Other than that, I make neutral land or draw or get +1 in almost every deck.
Yeah.
Because what if your plan changes and you want to have the desert somewhere else? So you would have to waste it and make another one.
Now we see Kingdanzz was forced to make a third mountain because Helios is stepping onto his opponent's land, which is really good.
I don't think he uses Bomb Slinger, so it already sucks when you have to make these deserts that you don't even benefit really from. Wow, and Helios goes face here.
Oh.
It's pretty funny.
He had enough.
Yeah. And that's a problem. Kingdanzz is at 0 Farrier, and there's no way Red can protect against these big creatures and defend it, and attack and defend at the same time.
Yeah, it certainly looks like this game is gonna go to Helios as well.
And the Outcast Tower draw a bit too late because like now you don't care about Farrier anymore. You want to save your face, and there's a 7/6 that's hitting it.
Yeah.
Is it even GG now? No.
Yeah, you can just use Last Nightmare and step in.
Oh yeah, it's GG.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes.
He's throwing his opponent around a little bit and then killing him. Good game.
Yeah.
Right, so it's 2-0 to Helios. So here we saw the brilliant yellow control doing well against both the Wish deck and the red aggro deck.
I think overall that was mostly a matchup loss. Both players played really well, but against this yellow version, I think Wish is a bit unfavored, and if Kingdanzz loses the first game against yellow, he doesn't really have the answers for it anymore.
Yeah, that's a really good thing also about the Pantheon format, or it's really good for the player winning the first game.
Yeah.
Because once you have the first game, and even if your opponent manages to win, then you have the option to pick a deck for the third game that counters whatever your opponent used in game number 2.
Yeah.
Alright, well, thank you, Lou, for doing this with me.
No problem. It was
Alright.
fun.
And thank you everyone for watching. Good night.
Bye bye.